The debate before the debate is about whether it will help or hurt the president to press Joe Biden on his son Hunter's email controversy tomorrow night. The Biden campaign already working to flip the script with this statement, saying he invests in these tainted smears because he knows his presidency is a weak, pathetic failure. This is why he bailed on the second debate. And if he recycles that same strategy that lost him the first debate, then he will also lose the third. So we're going to have our own pre-debate tonight with Democratic strategist Kevin Walling, RNC committee woman for California, Harmeet, Dhillon, Fox News contributor Jason Riley. Welcome back to all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, Shannon. Good evening.
Okay, so Harmeet, I want to start with you. We continue to get new information, like our folks broke tonight, about the fact that this laptop was subpoenaed in connection with a money laundering investigation. We don't know if Hunter is a target of that or if it's ongoing, but we know it was in some connection. This laptop was subpoenaed. Should the president avoid talking about this or not tomorrow night? We know the moderator is not going to bring it up, and most of the mainstream media is acting like it's just crazy town anyway.
Well, he should bring it up in the following way. The real issue here is not Hunter Biden and all of his weirdness and his personal problems and his drug addiction and so forth. It's whether Joe Biden is a pay-to-play politician, whether he has sold out his country previously, which these are the documents that we're looking at, and whether he would do that in the White House. That's a big, big question. It would be political malpractice not to raise it. And so I certainly hope that in that context, the president talks about all the evidence that we've seen, which is quite a bit, the ongoing investigations, and asks Joe Biden to answer the question that none of the mainstream media seems to be able to get him to answer, which is, are you selling out the country and do you operate for cash?
I mean, Kevin, he's not gotten many questions about this. A couple of our folks have tried to get it to him. A reporter or producer from CBS over the weekend tried to get it to him, and he immediately turned on that guy as if he was some part of a right-wing conspiracy to come after him. He hasn't been pressed on this, and we know that the debate topics tomorrow night are not going to include it. Wall Street Journal had an interesting piece today saying whether he gets elected or not, Biden needs to answer these questions. Is that fair? I mean, our own Mike Emanuel has been able to authenticate some of these emails that have very interesting conversations about money flowing to Hunter Biden and potentially to, quote, the big guy, which one source says is the former vice president.
Yeah, Shannon, I mean, I don't know if the moderator will bring it up tomorrow, but certainly Donald Trump will. He's been previewing these attacks on the campaign trail in North Carolina tonight, in Pennsylvania yesterday. But again, I think with the news coming out about the secret bank account in China held by Donald Trump and his corporation, millions of dollars in that account.
If we're going to say the allegations about Hunter are alleged, then that is also an allegation.
Sure, absolutely. This is a total, allegation about his tax returns in China. The fact that he potentially has paid more money in tax returns in China than he has in this country for the last 2 years of his presidency. I think the vice president has a really strong counterattack. You want to go after my son? Let's go after your tax returns here. In the fact that you may have this secret Chinese bank account. The one way that you can prove that that's not true is to release your tax returns, whether they be Chinese tax returns or American tax returns. But again, I think the vice president will be on the attack, defending his son and taking the fight to the president on this issue.
All right, so Jason, is that a fair strategy for the New York Times to publish things like the president, information from the president's actual tax returns, which is a crime, by the way, and nobody's talking about that, but to publish things and to say to the president, now you need to bat that down. Meanwhile, these things that we've been able to confirm in connection with Hunter Biden, and a lot of things we don't know and can't confirm, but those same things aren't presented to Joe Biden to say, you need to knock these things down, because so far they haven't.
Well, I think there are two issues here. One is whether this is a legitimate topic for the media to investigate, perhaps for other people in politics to investigate, the Justice Department, various congressional committees, and so forth. And then there's the subject. The other issue, though, is whether this is a topic that will help Donald Trump close the deal in terms of convincing enough voters to give him a second term. So I think on the first question, yes, this is a legitimate issue. On the second question, however, I'm not sure that this is the best closing argument for Donald Trump. This may be the last chance for him to face a large audience and make his case against Joe Biden. And I'm not sure that focusing on Hunter is the way to go. I think people want two things out of the president tomorrow. One is some reassurance about COVID. People are hurting, they're facing evictions, they're facing bankruptcies, unemployment. They want some reassurance from the president that he has a path going forward. And secondly, I think he should talk about the economy, which is a strong suit of his, and contrast his vision going forward economically in this country, what he did in the first 3 years before the pandemic, with where Biden and the progressives want to go. I think if Donald Trump makes this a choice election rather than a referendum on his character and so forth, he will do better. Focusing on Hunter Biden only helps his base, which is already voting for him. I don't think it brings in the new voters that he needs, the seniors, the suburban women, those groups that he's struggling with. I don't think Hunter Biden focus helps him with those groups in the closing days of the election.
Well, and we were told initially that the plan for this debate was going to be foreign policy, and the Trump administration says they have a lot to talk about there with regard to Middle East peace deals, things that are moving forward, all kinds of different changes and things that he's done on the foreign policy front. But now we are told that it was always up to the moderator, Harmeet, to change or to decide the topics. And we're back to things that a lot of people think were discussed in the first one with regard to COVID. But there'll be race issues, climate change, those kinds of things. Should the president try to make his case on foreign policy, although it doesn't look like he's going to get asked about it?
Well, absolutely he should, because he has a very strong record on foreign policy. I think Americans care about that. To Jason's point, I mean, obviously the 90 minutes of the debate should not be focused on Hunter Biden's laptop and Joe Biden's alleged corruption. But in the course of answering questions, I think the president is very deft at getting in jabs, and I'm sure that we're going to hear some there. But it's absolutely correct that he needs to focus on a closing argument, on his strong points. The fact that we have not gone into another endless war and the president is bringing troops home, a lot of Americans care about that, and that's a great selling point. And I think he has something good to say on all of those other topics as well. So hopefully we'll hear a little bit of exchange than we did in some of the last exchanges we've had on the campaign trail, and the president will make his case.
I can't wait to see how the mute button works and to see if I might be able to get one on this show too. In the meantime, Harmeet, Kevin, and Jason, we appreciate your time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.